Hey, Kinetic team. Good morning. This is your broker, Ryan Bell. So I've been telling you guys for a while that we're going to do these training videos, and this is the first one. So I'm really excited to get started, and I'm sure you guys are excited to learn. Um, and it's going to be a work in progress. This is my first one. You guys know I was in music, did recording and mastering for like a music recording. From time to time would have exposure to video, commercials, that kind of thing. But in terms of me producing everything myself, this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. So if you guys would just give me some grace in this, we're going to do it in this format because I want to be able to use some slides and show you some statistics, because you guys know that the numbers are really important to me, both from an investment perspective, but also for the customers that we work with and work for. We want to be able to deliver a high, top performing professional experience. This is a financial situation. It's a legal process, so we want to deliver top quality. So for you guys, though, the most important thing that you can work on is generating leads. And the reason I say that is I'll just be a little transparent here. Even in Kinetic, where I get my income from as the owner of this business, is 9 times out of 10 my own sales. The revenue that is generated from agent activity helps support and pay the bills for the business. Excuse me, you guys know that I launched headfirst into property management. Used to have a partner, used to have an employee, but it was actually costing me money as we were really pushing and trying to scale. It always costs and is an investment when you're trying to scale and start a new business. You rarely make money right away, and that was definitely the case with property management. So what I've retained with property management, now that I'm doing a lot of those duties by myself and Dad is helping a lot more with managing and coaching agents through transactions and filling out disbursement authorizations and those types of duties. It's also bringing in enough income to help pay the bills and support the business, but not enough to pay my bills, my personal bills, for me to make a living. So 9 times out of 10, where does the income come for the Ryan Bell household economy? It comes from my own sales. And my dad and I team up and do that together. So that means we've got to generate double the amount of sales because that's predominantly where his income comes from. So what that brings us back to in this first training, I really don't want to take up too much of your time. I'd love to do more bite-sized training, and I will do that with this video as well. There's going to be more of the probably 15-20 minute version. And then there's going to be like the 1 minute snapshot where there's none of my commentary. It's just the raw information, so that if you need to go back to it, here's in 1 minute a summary of this training and the key takeaways, the action steps for you to implement every day in your real estate business. So with that, we're going to get started with generating leads. We live in the digital world. So what's the best way to create leads in this new world that we live in? It's online. In person is absolutely, you cannot lose the personal touch, and you cannot play down the effect of just picking up the phone and calling a friend or going to have coffee with somebody. This is such a relational business. Business in general is so relational. I don't want to downplay just getting a coffee with somebody, but for the purpose of these videos, I sent out a quick little poll through email. Somebody mentioned online media and learning about that. And in today's digital world, it's great to go spend time with someone. That personal connection, you can't fabricate that personal connection with somebody. But in terms of eyeballs, activity, you can't beat online. There's meeting with one person, and then we're going to look at some of these statistics. There's social media, which Facebook has 2.9 billion people on Facebook. Personally, I've been involved in a lot of churches, a lot of traveling and music in college, and so I've got like 5,000 people on my Facebook friends list. There's no other place on the planet that I can get in front of 5,000 people at once other than my Facebook. So I'm not necessarily advocating for just becoming friends with a ton of random people, but if it's friends of a friends and follows, somebody sends you a friends request, as long as they're not a creep or a serial killer, you hit the accept button. You want as many friends as you want because you want as many eyeballs in your online social media. So this introduction went way too long. So now let's jump into some of the ins and outs of social media. Okay, so I want to start with what's the best platform to use. It's going to be individual to each of you. Just looking at these raw statistics real quick, this is a report from Statistica, an online statistics tracking website. So they show for January 2023, first quarter of 2023, and it's pretty much been this way for years, by the way, but it plays out each month as well. So it may or may not come as a surprise to you that Facebook has the largest following in monthly users worldwide, 2.9 billion, rounded down in this case. Closely followed by YouTube. That may or may not be a surprise to you. Then WhatsApp, that was a surprise to me. I've never used WhatsApp personally, but I'm sure there are some out there that do. Clearly there are 2 billion of them. And then there's Instagram, not a big surprise. And then you can go on down the list. TikTok is there, and it's rising. But of course, with the political situation going on, because some of the ownership is owned by Chinese nationals, and so then the concern about China comes into play. So I've been loosely following that, and there is legislation that's been proposed by the House, or by our Congress rather. I don't have it right in front of me at the moment, that says that they may ban it, and this is not just like a Republican Democrat issue. This is a bipartisan thing that even the president's talking about banning them, and so it's just something to be aware of. Not that it really matters until it happens, but we'll just talk about the different forms real quick, and then also the different demographics. So Facebook has a cross-generational demographic. It tends to be older. I'm part of the younger generation that uses Facebook in some ways, in my 30s. And the largest demographic on Facebook, believe it or not, is in their 50s. So use those demographics as you may. Because I still fall into that age demographic, that's why I have such a strong following on Facebook, and it's good for me. But for you, your age may be younger. You may tend to be more on the Instagram side of things if you're a little bit younger, and then if you're younger than 20s, you're teenager, you tend to be in the TikTok, Snapchat world. So Instagram is more folks in their 20s, from just looking at the data. So then YouTube is another interesting thing where we all don't necessarily see it as social media, but clearly from the user base, people are on. The activity is also on YouTube. I mean, very close to Facebook's worldwide audience. So when you choose what platform you're going to use, and maybe you use all of them, but it's hard to do a lot of things at once, so it may be easier for you, because one of the things we're going to talk about next is consistency. It's very important to be consistent, and it takes time to build that following. So the more consistent you are, the larger your following will grow. The more you'll be seen as a market expert in real estate. And that's another thing that we're going to get into too, because when you start talking about social media and online lead generation, we're marketing ourselves. We need to learn about marketing. So what I'm stressing here in this point is just being thoughtful about what platform you pick, being strategic. Pick a platform that works for you, that you're going to use a lot, because it's important to be consistent. So it's really not rocket science, my friends, when we really start looking at this. What do you like? Whichever one you like and you use the most, I would suggest to you start with that platform to build your following. So the next thing we're going to look at is some of the ways to use the platform. Facebook is 9 times out of 10 more two-dimensional with, writing something down, writing a post, describing something, maybe pictures. Sometimes there's options for video, but Facebook is not really seen as the video platform. Clearly, YouTube, video platform. Instagram, 9 times out of 10, it's pictures. However, they're really pushing this Reels thing to compete with TikTok. So then you fall into the short form video platform. And these types of content are different. Posting a picture and writing about it is different than just writing something. Tagging links. We're going to talk about tagging links to your own website or cross social media platforms. So if you're posting on Facebook, but it came from your Instagram, or you want people to be driven to your Instagram or your YouTube or whichever other platform, then you can embed a link. If you want to push them to, you're talking about something and there's a statistic you're throwing out and you want to show a resource and you want to push them to a resource, then you can put links in there. You can tag other people. If you're talking about something, a local celebrity or something, and you want to tag that person's account, you can put that in your link. Excuse me. Just talking about the types of platforms, putting together a 30-second TikTok video is a lot different than doing a long description video like would be best suited for YouTube. So what you see a lot is they're called influencers. If you're not too familiar with social media, they do a lot of cross-platform stuff where they'll post the short form on TikTok, but then they'll put the full 40-minute or 30-minute discussion or whatever they're doing on YouTube. So that's a little bit about which platform is best for you. Is also, all right, what do you end up doing? Do you end up just wanting to post a quick little fun light 30-second video, so you're more towards the TikTok range, or are you more in-depth person that's really going through all of the nitty-gritty and you want to post that on YouTube or Facebook? Facebook would be a good place to post blogs. If you have a written blog, you can talk about it and then have a website that you set up to have your own blog. So those are the different types of platforms, what they're used for, the type of viewer base that they have, and hopefully will help you pick which platform's right for you. Okay, so this next one is probably going to be a little touchy-feely for some of you, because I know that our High Point team tried out Zillow, and I know from just some conversations with Nikki that sounds like you guys cut that off and didn't really have a great experience. I personally have not had that great of an experience with Zillow either. However, my dad and I have been using Realtor.com for over a year. When I first got in the business, started using Realtor.com, and I made $40,000, $50,000 in a year in sales, and that was enough for me to replace my salary at the church and pay a decent income and get started. It costs a lot of money. However, they send a message in Zillow, they send a message in Realtor.com because they well, as you guys know, sometimes people are just fishing. However, there are a lot of people that are not fishing. They know they're going to get contacted and they're expecting to get contacted to get assistance, whether that's from a mortgage person or the listing agent or even an agent that's not the listing agent. Um, so I could almost do another video on how to best handle Zillow and Realtor.com leads, because I've been doing it so long and I have had success at it, that there's a way to qualify these leads and ask them questions to get to the point of action, which is first point of action is you want to show it to them. Whether they're qualified or not, just try to get in front of them, because 75% of the consumers work with the first real estate agent they come in contact with. I've said this before and I'll say it again. So it doesn't even matter what you look like, how good you are, how professional you are. 75% of the customers work with the first real estate agent they come in contact with. So the reason I want to show this slide is, my dad and I, to be honest, we cut off Realtor.com because recently the leads have been terrible. However, we've got one right now and we're working one right now. So I also cut it off as a means of trying to get more affordable leads, because if there's a downturn, there's already been a 40% reduction in agents and closer to a 25% reduction in Pensacola companies, real estate companies in the MLS. You can go look at that data now. So with less competition, I'm wondering if Zillow and Realtor.com are going to reduce their prices today, April 27th of 2023, because they're trying to attract more agents since some are falling away. And what I'm finding out is really what they're doing is they're going to those top producing agents. My dad and I were spending $1,000 a month. These other top producing agents, they're spending 3, 4, 5 times that in our market. And in Tampa Bay, there was an agent who I heard was spending $25,000 a month on Zillow leads alone, because she didn't do that overnight. She built up to it. She's, I think, almost 75, 80 years old, and she's been doing real estate for 30, 40 years. So she didn't just, all of a sudden drop 25 grand on Zillow leads. She built up to it. And she built up to where her face was on a billboard. Down in Tampa, Mark Searcy, you know who I'm talking about? She is up and down Highway 19, and her name escapes me at the moment, but you see her face on like 5 billboards when you're driving down Highway 19 in Clearwater, Palm Harbor area of Tampa Bay. So I say that to say that, I know it costs a lot of money and not all the leads are quality leads, but when you look at about 60 or 55 million people search on Zillow, and then Realtor.com has over 30 million people, close to 45 million people that search for their home on Realtor.com. My social media following can't compete with that. So it's its own, it has its own pros and cons. But I just wanted to show that statistic to just let you know that it's worked for me. It will probably work in the future, and it's an option. It's a kind of quick around to go from the social media, which is organic, takes a lot of work. It takes time to build up a following on social media. Now I say that I've gotten a listing or two, and I've gotten a property that I manage from social media. So out of 3 years of doing social media, I've gotten probably 3 or 4, and I haven't been consistent with my social media. But from Realtor.com, I paid for leads, and within, I think it took me 3 months, maybe 6 months, the first time I started using Realtor.com before I got my first closing. And then that closing allowed me to keep paying the bill for paid leads. So we'll move on to the next topic. This next one is going to be more of a beginner's guide.
this is for somebody who has never used social media or doesn't really understand how to post, where to post. I'm just going to do a quick guide on that. For more really in-depth production level videos, or and what I mean by production is there's capturing the video. So you have to capture the content first. You have to capture the audio. So what type of camera are you using? Are you using your cell phone, which in today's world, you really can't beat the quality of a cell phone for the price, and we all pay for it anyways. I mean, a lot of our smartphones now are shooting in 4K. One of the things about shooting in 4K is that it takes a lot more data. So it's not easy to upload those videos. Sometimes you can't because the file sizes are too big. So that means that your videos in 4K can't be more than a minute typically before the size of the file. You can't even post it to some of these platforms. YouTube has gotten better about long-term, larger files. So that's not as much of an issue in 4K as is trying to post to TikTok or Reels for that. So for more like real in-depth content training on how to capture, what devices to use, whether that's your camera, your microphone, I would direct you to people who are way more skilled and talented at that than I am. This is just a high-level overview, some things to think about when deciding what types of tools you're going to use to do your content creating. So that being said, there are some coaches that you can pay, services you can pay to learn how to do video editing, what type of software to use. There's free stuff out there. If you're using a Mac, iMovie, there's a lot of stuff I can do in iMovie that's decent. It's just a step above just, turning on my phone and talking or recording something, and the microphone just, not being that great outside and that kind of stuff. So lighting has a lot to do with it when you're talking about pictures and videos. You can, with a cell phone and good lighting, take some pretty amazing photos. So that's what I would say about teaching yourself how to be a better content creator. You can audio subscriptions and music files that you can buy, or there's free stuff out there to add to and master your video and your audio together to create some, some of these guys and gals, they're doing like cinematic type videos with their music and their video content that is surprising to me, that you can do with just, like I said, your phone. So I encourage you to go teach yourself how to be a better content creator. But what I'm learning is it's less about how good your content is and more about just your consistency, right? So for those of you who don't know the basics, I'm going to show you real quick. So if one of the platforms I'm using is YouTube, so you can just type that in your search box. I'm already signed in. I stay logged in. So here is your account in the top right, and you can look at your channel, so things that you've done. This video was used with mastering video editing software. This was used with PowerPoint. This was just me using my phone, telling people that, hey, I decided to go part-time as a pastor and go into real estate. I've invested in real estate, and now here's my story of why I'm becoming a realtor. This was me also on my phone. You see people do that from time to time, just flipping it around, talking about real estate investing. So when it comes to recording it, this content was not from my phone. This I grabbed from just online content about Blue Angels, and then I mixed it and mastered it with my own logo for the company and things of that nature. Again, I used PowerPoint for this. You can record videos with PowerPoint, believe it or not. And then this is just my phone. So that gives you an idea of how to capture the content in a free manner and different ways to do that. You can edit your profile picture. You want to pick a good clean headshot. If you haven't already gotten a headshot, let me know. We'll get you one. So then let's go to Facebook because that's just the one that's easier for me. This is where you post. You can post your video here, or you can do a live video, and you can post a photo there. So if you're going to post a photo, you come in here, and it's real easy to drag and drop. So I'll show you that real quick. Like if I'm going to grab this picture from this slide, just drag and drop. Takes a few seconds to do it. And then I say, man, surprising statistics on social media use. And then when it comes to tagging, you have to put the @ symbol, and then you tag a friend. That's my pastor at my church. This is a cousin of mine. This is a teacher from my music theater days. And then of course we have the company. So whatever you do the @ symbol for, you tag a person or a company that you want to tag. And then you also do that by hashtags, but hashtags is more for like keywords. So if somebody's on social media and they're talking about real estate, you can see that 32 million people post about realtor, 26 million people hashtag real estate agent. Let's see, Pensacola. There was Pensacola Beach. That's what I was looking for. So 230,000 people posted about Pensacola Beach. So it's cool to see these statistics and hashtags. And this works the same way on Instagram or TikTok, YouTube. When you're posting and describing it, you want to tag people. You want to tag people or entities, or you want to do a hashtag for a keyword that the algorithm in the software for the social media will push people towards people that are talking about the same thing. And so that's the important, or they're searching for, that's the important thing about hashtags and keywords in social media. So that's just a little quick tutorial. Hope it helped those of you who are familiar or not familiar with social media and how to use it. And I hope that and look forward to hearing from you when you got your first lead and your first closing from your online lead generating activities. So hope you guys have a good day, and I look forward to talking with you and meeting with you on the next training video.